Welcome to Dr. Patterson's North Springs High School Work-Based Learning webinar for September. The purpose of this webinar is for all the students who cannot attend the meeting in the auditorium during our weekly meeting. Especially for September, it's very important that we're all on the same page. I know everyone started at different times, so I want to make sure that everyone knows exactly what's going on in work-based learning and that we're all on the same page to make sure everyone gets this 100 in the class. So without any further ado, I will begin the first webinar. All right, first the agenda. So today I'm going to cover all issues and concerns that are outstanding. Next, I'm going to cover what was due in August. Make sure everyone knows what's due in September. And then my business lesson for the month. And then the final announcements I'll wrap it up with. All right, general announcements. First of all, just to recap the purpose of work-based learning. Number one is to get that 100 GPA boost and improve our Hope Scholarship. But not just that, the academic purpose for work-based learning is to teach a set of soft skills. Since 87% of first-time employees get fired from the first job due to lack of soft skills, the AES curriculum is designed around the Georgia Best curriculum, which teaches kids soft skills. So that's the purpose of those AES assignments. If you complete the AES assignments and get 80 or better on those assignments, you earn a seal on your diploma certificate that say that you're Georgia Best certified. That seal comes from the Department of Labor and the Department of Education. It also earns a graduation cord. But that's the purpose of the Georgia Best AES assignments. The purpose of the portfolio assignments, the website is the electronic portfolio, is so I can basically quickly show people and validate that you're doing something academic besides just working at your job or on campus. General announcement, the grade book in Infinite Campus has not been set up yet. I'm still waiting for the counselors and the admin to set the grade book up. So I have grades for you, but they just can't be entered right now into Infinite Campus. This is what was due in August. Number one, paperwork. There's a star next to that for a reason. I'll get back to it in a second. Number two, the AES module for job seeking skills. Everyone has to do everything. So on campus and off campus have to do the AES learning assignments. If you were part of work-based learning last year, you do not have to do the AES learning assignments. Instead of I'm going to just give everyone 100. If you were part of work-based learning last year, I'm assuming that you know 100% of the material, so I'm going to give you 100 for those assignments. The website shell, the only thing that was due were the tabs, the shell of the website and a picture. So a picture of you on your website with a shell and just the tabs. The reflection, the monthly reflection was not due by anyone. The employee evaluation. So on my website at www.northspringswbl.org, under the resources tab, you can find the employee evaluation. Everyone's supposed to print off one of those evaluations, have your supervisor, whether you're on campus or off campus, evaluate you, and then deposit that evaluation inside of the folder in my door based on your corresponding period. If you have me for multiple periods, let's say you have me for 6th and 7th period, put in the first period. In the top right-hand corner of your employee evaluation sheet, it's critical that you put down what your period numbers are. So put down, even if it's one period, just put down one first period. If you have multiple periods especially, put down 6th and 7th period. Finally, hours and wages. This month, hours and wages was done through a Google form. Make sure you're doing that. The paperwork video, I'll pause real quick. This is a spreadsheet of your paperwork grade. Right now, the grade is not being in the system. For the paperwork grade, I'm going to give it a pass-fail grade. You either get 100 or 0. You get 100 once it's 100% complete. If it's a green, if it's marked green, it means I have the paperwork. That piece of paperwork. If it's not green, it means I don't have the paperwork. For the greens, The only things that you don't have, it'll be red if it's your counselor sign-off form. I haven't got any counselors to sign a counselor sign-off form. I haven't got any discipline records from any counselor. So don't worry about that. And I haven't got any attendance records for most of your counselors. But besides that, all the paperwork is required by you to turn in. That includes the application when you apply for work-based learning and part 2 of the application. Because everyone's going to should end up with an A in the class anyway, I don't feel bad showing you everyone's grade. So if you can look at your personal name, you can see which you're missing. Or you can come by my office, talk to me or one of my mentors, and they can tell you why a certain item is red. It's either incomplete or missing. And that is it. Don't worry about the badge. And I'm going back to the PowerPoint. All right. What's coming up due this month? Number 1, your AES learning assignment, business law, for the kids who weren't here last semester. Everything is due. This is due at the end of the month, the last day of September. On your website, now that your website's created, I need you to add 2 things to your website. Number 1, add a professional-looking resume, and number 2, add a reflection. I suggest for your resume, I'll send a rubric on Edmodo. But I suggest for your resume, it's aesthetically pleasing and also professionally edited. A lot of people just throw their resume together. I suggest you pay someone at Fiverr.com to format your resume so it looks professional. I'm going to show you an example right now of a person's regular resume versus the resume that they got from Fiverr. This was Deja Gray's original resume that she sent to me and looks basic like many of yours. It's a standard resume. Nothing eye-catching. It's 2 pages instead of 1 page. All your resumes should be 1 page. Then she paid someone at Fiverr to condense this resume. This is Deja. This is the resume from Fiverr, reformatted by that she paid $5 for from Deja Gray. 1 page, much more concise, much more marketable. Most people only write 5 to 6 resumes their whole lives. It's better to pay someone $5 who writes 1,000 resumes over the course of a year. Okay, besides the resume, I also need you to add a reflection to your website. I think it's under the monthly blog tab or something like that. I'm going to talk about that more next slide. The hours and wages, we'll either do another Google Doc or hopefully by the end of the month, your hours and wages, which is due on the 5th of October, and employee evaluation, which is due on the 5th of October, will be automated on roll tracks by that time. This is an example of your reflection, this part right here. So on your reflection, you should have a picture of you at work and then 150 words describing how your experience relates to one of the 15 Georgia Best Standards. The 15 Georgia Best Standards are listed on my website under the Resources tab. So go to www.northspringswbl.org, go to the Resource tab, and click Georgia Best Standards to just read which one of the standards is applicable to what you did for the month. You can't duplicate standard after standard, so you don't have to pick one standard every month and write the same to write a similar blog post. Hours and wages, like I said, we'll do roll tracks or a Google Doc on your phone. Oh, and then finally the lesson for the month. All right, finally the lesson of the month. It should not week, the month. This lesson is inspired by a student who came to my office complaining, even though everything that I've told you over the course of this seminar has already been on my website, on my one-sheeter, and so forth. The student was complaining about how he didn't know what was going on in the class. And I thought about what he was saying, and it reminded me of a very important business lesson. So I'm going to cover that with you guys right now. by telling you the story of the bird and the cow. There's a bird, and this bird decides to be unlike all the other birds. Instead of flying south for the winter, this bird decides to fly north. So as this bird is flying north for the winter, it realizes the wings are getting cold. Ice starts to form on the bird's wings. So much ice forms on this bird's wings that the bird falls from the sky as a bowl of ice and lands in a field. As the bird is frozen in the field, a cow comes by and poops on the bird. The warmth of this cow's dung starts to warm the bird. The bird becomes so happy that the bird begins to whistle. Whistle sound. A coyote hears the bird whistling and comes by and eats the bird. Now, the moral of this story is this. Everyone who poops on you in life is not necessarily your enemy. Number two, everyone who gets you out of poop isn't necessarily your friend. But most importantly, in life, when you find yourself in deep poop, just keep your mouth closed. Final announcement. The field trip is on November 11th. November 11th is the mandatory field trip. Either you come to the field trip or you're doing an alternative assignment, which is a paper about job skills. You have to wear appropriate dress for the field trip. If you need to know what appropriate dress is, it is on. You can look at the thumbnail on the screen, or you can look at the picture on my website that shows what everyone wore last year to the field trip. If you need any other questions, feel free to schedule an appointment with me by going to the website and hitting the Calendly link for a field trip, for an appointment, and that should do it. All right, that concludes the first webinar. Oh, no, it's not. Sorry. Darn it. I hope for everyone who didn't click off. I had 2 awards. This, for every webinar I'm going to do, for every session, I want to award, I'm passing out graduation medals. Some kids who have done above and beyond stuff in work-based learning. So this, I'm passing out 3 graduation medals. You can come by my office and pick them up to 3 kids who went out and got their own internship this year. Great internships. So number 1 is Maya Artsy. Number 2 is Sammy Hertz. And then number 3 is Ben Shapiro. So if you would, come by my office and pick up a graduation medal that you can wear at graduation. I'll talk about graduation chords and the Georgia Best chords during the next webinar. All right, I'm done.